So last time we started the anatomy, human anatomy, sorry, CVS anatomy, and we discussed about the circulatory system, and I explained you about the cardiovascular system, lymphatic system. I explained you about the circulation. We have systemic circulation, we have pulmonary circulation. I also explained you about how this pulmonary and systemic circulation it works. We started the gross anatomy of the heart, and we discuss about the location, the relationship of this heart. For the apex is actually the pointed or the head of the heart, and I told you that the heart, it lies on its apex. So apex is downward. The base of the heart, it is upward. So base of the heart, it is actually, it is right side, dorsalo upward, and it is fixed. So this base of the heart, it is fixed with the posteriorly with the pericardial wall. And when we are in a sitting position and when we are in a standing position, there is a change in the relationship of the heart with the posterior wall. Like when we are in a standing position, the base of the heart, it is fixed, and that fixation is between T6 to T9, thoracic, T6 to T9, because when we are in a standing position, due to the gravity, the heart, it hang down. You know, this is gravity. And when we sit down or when we lay down, so there is no gravity or there is less gravity. So even when we are in a sitting position, the abdomen, it is compressing the thorax. So when it is compressing the thorax, so heart, it moves upward. So that is why like when you are in a sitting position, or if a patient, or if there is a cadaver, like on a like when somebody is lying flat, it is fixed posteriorly between T5 to T8. This is their location, T5 to T8 vertebra. And when we see what is posterior to this base, posterior to this base is, that is esophagus. Posterior to this base, there is a esophagus. So esophagus, it crosses posterior to the base. Surfaces, there are four surfaces of the heart. We have sternocostal surface, that is the anterior surface. So the anterior surface is, if you see here, this is the sternocostal surface, because this surface, it is anteriorly, and it is facing the sternum. So that is why we call it sternocostal surface. So it is actually the anterior wall of the heart as well. We also call it the anterior wall of the heart, and it mainly formed, this sternocostal surface, it is formed by the right atrium and major part of the right ventricle and some part of left ventricle. Not all left ventricle, it is present anteriorly. When we look the heart anteriorly, the left ventricle, the right ventricle and the right atrium, it make a major anterior wall of the heart. The anterior surface of the heart is made by, it is actually composed of the right atrium and the right ventricle, because left ventricle is posterior. It is posterior when we look at the anteriorly, when we look the heart anteriorly. In your lab, I will show you. Okay, next coming lab, I will show you this. So that is why the sternocostal surface, we have a major part of the heart, that is the right atrium, this is the right ventricle, and some part of the left ventricle. So sternocostal surface, that is anterior part of the heart, and it is made up of the right and right atrium and ventricle, and some part of the left ventricle. The second surface is a diaphragmatic surface. So we know that the heart, it lies inferiorly, the heart, it lies on the diaphragm. So inferiorly, the heart, it is residing on a diaphragm. So it is, so diaphragmatic surface, it made the inferior wall of the heart. It made the inferior wall of the heart. And when we say the which region it lies inferiorly, this is left, this is the left atrium, this is actually the left ventricle. But because this is upward, so I'm not, it is not making, left atrium is not making this diaphragmatic surface. Actually the left ventricle and the right ventricle, because right and left ventricle, they are inferior. So they make the inferior surface or diaphragmatic surface. Are you getting this point? The inferior surface, if you see, like, we know that the heart lies on its apex, and apex is made up of what? Left and right ventricle. Basically apex is the left ventricle, but inferior portion of the heart is made up of ventricles, because atrial are superior. So that is why the inferior surface on which the heart lies on the diaphragm, that is left and right ventricle. So the left and right ventricle, they make the diaphragmatic surface. While we have two more surfaces, left and right pulmonary surfaces. So the right pulmonary, the left or right pulmonary surfaces, they are actually present. They are surfaces. They are have a relation with the pleura or with the lungs, because the heart. I have the picture. Okay, if you see here, this is the heart, and both sides of the heart, we have what? Lungs. So the right pulmonary surface, this is a right pulmonary surface, this is the left pulmonary surface. So the right pulmonary surface, it is convex. Can you see here? It is convex. It is broad and convex. Both surfaces, right and left pulmonary surfaces, both are broad and convex. While the left pulmonary surface, it is made up of left ventricle, while the right surfaces, it is majorly made up of the right atrium and some part of the right ventricle. So these are the two more surfaces. So there are total 4 surfaces: sternocostal surface, diaphragmatic surface, and left and right pulmonary surfaces. So both pulmonary surfaces, they are convex and broad, while the left pulmonary surface, it is made up by the left ventricle, while the right, it is made up of the right atrium and the right ventricle. So these are the pulmonary surfaces of the heart. Do you understand? Is okay? Okay. So the borders, there are 3 borders of the heart. 3 borders: the right border, inferior border, and the left border of the heart. So the right border, it is mainly made up of the right atrium and right ventricle, while inferior border, it is made up of right and left ventricle. Okay, the right border, we know that the right border, we have what? Right atrium and right ventricle, some part of the right ventricle. Inferior border, it is made up of right ventricle and right ventricle. That is a diaphragmatic surface, you can say. So this is also a border, inferior border. The left border, it is made up of the left atrium and left ventricle. So this is their 3 borders. So the heart, it has 3 borders, 4 surfaces, okay, and there are 4 grooves. What are grooves? What is the another name of groove? What is the another name of groove? It is also known as sulcus. Coronary sulcus, interventricular sulcus. So sulcus or groove, both are the same terms, okay? Groove or sulcus. Anatomically, sulcus or groove mean that any inward margin which is separating one structure into two part. Groove, or you can say the sulcus, it is the depression. It is the depression which dividing the organ, or which dividing any surface or any organ or any part into two or more than two like different surfaces. So that is we call a sulcus, or that is we call a groove. So the heart, it has 4 grooves: coronary groove, or we can also call it the coronary sulcus. So this coronary sulcus, this coronary sulcus, it divides. This coronary sulcus it divide the heart. It separate the heart from upper part to lower part, or simply we can say it divides the atria from ventricle. It divides atria from ventricle. Remember, this sulcus is very important because through this, on this sulcus, we have venous supply, because the great cardiac vein, it runs on this sulcus, as well as on this sulcus, we also have a like blood supply, veins and arteries, which runs along with this sulcus. So remember, this sulcus is important structure because the blood supply of the heart, it runs on this sulcus, or on this coronary sulcus. While the anterior interventricular sulcus, interventricular mean between two ventricles. So this is actually we call it interventricular sulcus. There are 2 grooves. One groove is anterior and one groove is posterior. So interior groove is known as anterior interventricular groove. Anterior interventricular groove, because this groove, it is dividing left and right ventricle into 2 parts, left and right. So this interventricular groove, it runs on interventricular septum. What is septum? The separation between left and right ventricle we call interventricular septum. And that septum, this sulcus, this groove runs on this interventricular septum. So that's why it divides into 2 left and right ventricles. The same anteriorly, we also have posteriorly. So posteriorly, we also have the groove, and that is known as posterior interventricular groove, because this groove is dividing the left and right ventricle posteriorly into right and left ventricle. And the 4th one, we have interarterial groove. So the groove which is dividing or which is separating the left and right atria. The groove or the sulcus which is dividing right and left atria. This is known as interatrial groove or interatrial sulcus. Understand? Okay. Okay, so next we have the heart walls or the cardiac wall. When we look at the heart, we have the outermost layer, and then we have the innermost layer, and then we have the muscles. The outermost layer of the heart, or the outermost structure of the heart, is fibrous pericardium. When we see the cross section of the heart wall, so the outermost structure is the fibrous pericardium. So the pericardium, it is the covering of the heart. What is pericardium? It is the covering of the heart. And outside this pericardium, we have fibrous and serous pericardium. Just wait, I explain you in detail about that. So the outermost layer of the heart, or the outermost structure of the heart, is known as pericardium. And pericardium, there are two pericardiums, fibrous and serous pericardium. So fibrous pericardium, as the name suggests, it is made up of fibrous tissue, and it is the toughest structure which prevent the heart. That is because why it is toughest, because it is the outermost structure. So it prevents the heart even from overfilling or from any trauma. When we move inward, so after this pericardium, we have fibrous pericardium, and after the fibrous pericardium, we have serous pericardium. Serous pericardium is further divided into two pericardium, visceral and parietal. The outermost is the fibrous pericardium. When we move inward, we have serous pericardium. The serous pericardium is further divided into two types of pericardium. One is parietal pericardium, and second is visceral pericardium. So parietal pericardium, which is present along with the fibrous pericardium, while the visceral pericardium, which is attached with the myocardium, or which attach with the heart. And in between these two, parietal and visceral pericardium, we have pericardial cavity. There is a distance, there is a cavity between parietal and visceral pericardium. So that is known as pericardial cavity. And this pericardial cavity have pericardial fluid. Just wait, I explain you more in detail, So I'm just giving you an overview about the structures. So the outermost is the fibrous. After this fibrous pericardium, we have serous pericardium. And this serous pericardium, it is divided into two layers. Or there are two types or two division of serous pericardium. One is parietal and one is visceral. What is visceral? As the name suggests, visceral mean viscera. Viscera mean organ. So the layer which is attached to the organ, that layer is known as visceral layer. So the serous pericardium which attached with the heart is known as visceral pericardium. And the serous layer which attached with the fibrous pericardium is known as parietal pericardium. And in between parietal and the visceral, we have pericardial cavity. Okay, so after the visceral pericardium, we have myocardium. So myocardium is what? Myocardium is the muscles. These are the muscle tissues. And then after this myocardium, the innermost structure, we have endocardium. What is endocardium? So endocardium is the innermost layer of the heart. So this is the wall of the heart as a general. So one by one, we will discuss in detail about these structures. So first of all, we have the pericardium. So what is pericardium? So pericardium, I told you, it is the actually the pericardium is the triple layer. Why I say triple layer? One layer is the fibrous, and second the serous pericardium, and serous pericardium is divided into parietal and visceral. So as a collective pericardium, there are three layers of pericardium. I told you we have fibrous pericardium and we have serous pericardium. So serous pericardium is divided into two parts. So as a general, there are three layers of pericardium: fibrous pericardium, serous pericardium, and serous is further divided into parietal and visceral pericardium. So the fibrous pericardium, it is the strongest layer which covers the whole heart. It covers the whole heart. It is made up of the dense connective tissue, especially the fibrous tissue. And if you see here, this fibrous wall or fibrous pericardium, inferiorly it attach with the diaphragm. It adhere mean attachment. So it is attached inferiorly with the diaphragm, and superiorly, it is fused with the root of the great vessels. What are the great vessels? The vessels which are originating or which are entering or leaving from the heart. Those vessels are known as great vessels. So what are the which ones or what are the great vessels? Inferior vena cava, superior vena cava, pulmonary trunk, okay, and this pulmonary trunk and this pulmonary veins. So they are known as great vessels. Aorta is also a great vessels because these are the biggest vessels of the body. So that's why we call the great vessels. So inferiorly this fibrous pericardium, it is attached with the diaphragm, and superiorly it is attached with the great vessels. What are the great vessels? Superior vena cava, aorta, this is aorta, and we have the pulmonary trunk. Okay, so this fibrous pericardium, as I told you, this pericardium is the toughest one. And another most important physiological function of this fibrous pericardium is it prevents the overfilling of heart. Overfilling. What is overfilling? If there is a increased blood in the heart, so because the heart, it has capacity to accommodate the volume of blood. So it prevents the overfilling of ventricles. So that is why, this is the main physiological function of this fibrous pericardium, as well as it also protects the heart from the injury. Okay, so as I told you, this fibrous sac, it is the outermost. This is again, if you see the picture, so this is the superior fusion. Here you can see, this is the fibrous pericardium, and this fibrous pericardium, it is fused with the greater vessels. So this is aorta, and this is what? This is the pulmonary trunk. Okay, so here you can see it is attached with the pulmonary trunk, fibrous pericardium. And after this fibrous pericardium, we have this serous pericardium. And I told you, serous pericardium, it is divided into two pericardium. So the pericardium which is attached with the fibrous pericardium is known as parietal pericardium. So this parietal pericardium, it runs along with the fibrous pericardium, and it has different reflections. What is reflection? Bending. For example, if some structure it comes to some structure attached, and then it move back after attachment. Can you see here? Fibrous pericardium attached here, and the parietal pericardium, it comes near the great vessel, and then it reflect back. So this is we call reflection. So due to this reflection, there is a production of a cavity that is known as pericardial cavity. So the parietal pericardium, it actually runs along with the fibrous pericardium, and we know that the fibrous pericardium, it covers the whole heart. So it runs along with the fibrous pericardium, and at the greater vessel, this parietal pericardium, it reflects, there is a reflection, and it make a second layer that is known as visceral pericardium. So after reflection, the same parietal pericardium, it attach with the heart. So now the same parietal pericardium will be known as visceral pericardium. And because of this reflection, if you see here, because of this reflection, there is a production of or creation of a cavity. And this cavity is known as pericardial cavity. And because of this reflection, there is a production, there is a creation of some empty spaces. And that empty spaces are known as pericardial sinuses. That is known as pericardial sinuses. And that sinuses are because of this reflection. So remember, the attachment with the great vessels is with the fibrous pericardium, not this reflection. So reflection is not attached with the great vessels. It is not completely attached with the great vessel. So even you can insert a finger here. In this reflection, you can insert a finger, and that is we call a sinus, pericardial sinus. And this pericardial sinus are the main region, or you can say important region during heart transplantation. So we can, because this is, as you know that this sinus is present between this pulmonary trunk. So if you want to cut down the pulmonary trunk, we have to ligate, we have to cut down and ligate the vessels. So we insert the thread, surgical thread, and we ligate the whole great vessel through this sinus. So these pericardial sinuses, they are very important in surgery, cardiac surgeries, especially in cardiac or heart transplantation. So from this sinus, we can insert a needle like with a thread, a surgical stitcher, and we can stitch a whole blood vessel. Which blood vessel? A complete blood vessels. We can ligate this pulmonary trunk. We can even ligate the aorta. All the great vessels can be ligated. And that ligation is through this sinuses, pericardial sinuses. And these pericardial sinuses are made due to these reflections. Do you understand? So just wait, I will explain you later about there are two sinuses. We have transverse and oblique sinus. Okay, so the fibrous pericardium. So what are the attachment and the structure or the relations of this fibrous pericardium? So fibrous pericardium, anteriorly, it is attached with the sternum. So it holds, because it is the fibrous, it is the outermost. So it maintains the structure of the heart. So anteriorly, it is attached with the sternum with the help of ligament that is known as sternopericardial ligament. So anteriorly, this fibrous pericardium, it attached with the sternum. So there is a pericardial ligament, sternopericardial ligament that is present anterior to this fibrous pericardium. And this is the attachment. Posteriorly, posterior to this fibrous pericardium, it is related with the bronchi, esophagus. There are some nerve fluxes which passes through posteriorly, and the descending aorta that lies posterior to this fibrous pericardium. While the serous pericardium, I explained you that this is the double layer, outer and inner layer. So outer layer is fused with the fibrous pericardium, and the inner layer is fused with the heart, the wall of the heart. So both layers, they are actually continuous with each other, and there is only reflection at the greater vessels. They reflect at the greater vessels. And in between these two layers, we have what? We have pericardial cavity. And within this pericardial cavity, we have pericardial fluid. And what is the significance of this fluid, pericardial fluid? Yes, it helps to minimize the friction while contraction and relaxation. There is a condition that is known as pericardial effusion. Pericardial effusion. So this effusion, it occurs, it does not occur in the serous pericardium, it actually occurs in the visceral layer. So there is a accumulation of fluid within this pericardium, within this pericardium, and that condition we call pericardial effusion. Okay, so this pericardial effusion, it occurs within the visceral layer, not pericardial layer. Okay, remember this. So that pericardial effusion, it happens in lot of conditions. For example, hypothyroidism, it can occur in heart failure most commonly. So what will happen when when this pericardium, it is, for example, this is the muscle, this is the heart, and this is the visceral layer. This is the visceral layer. So when there is a fluid between the heart and the visceral layer, so there will be a what? It will cause compression to the heart. If you see here, let's go. Okay, here. This is the myocardium. This is the visceral layer. Okay. So if there is a fluid between this visceral layer and the heart, myocardium, so the fluid will prevent the heart to become relaxed. So that will lead to a further failure of the heart. So in heart failure condition, in hypothyroidism, and we also have